Hey guys, Jason here. Welcome back to the channel and welcome to an update video with the Traxxas Max Slash. Now, as you can see, I've done quite a bit. So we've done the full ESC transplant. We got rid of the VXL6S. If you missed the first few videos, go back and watch them. I had a lot of issues with the VXL6S. There's always been a control issue when I've ran any of the VXL systems, just the way the brake and the throttle work and the responsiveness. But I actually had full on like brownouts, cutouts, however you want to say it, with the ESC. So I decided to just finally get it out. So what we've got going on right now is this. If you haven't seen the truck at all, Max Slash, we've got Garage Life wheelie bar wheels, the Garage Life RC shock kind of guards. We've added the Garage Life RC ESC mount. This is for the Max 8. We now have a Max 8 in the truck. Over here, we have the Garage Life RC battery tray, kind of, well, actually more like battery mount. It's not really a tray, it's a battery mount system. You basically replace the two plastic pieces here and then the actual clamping system. You get rid of that. You install these with the same screws, the same hardware that comes in the kit, and you have this now Velcro strap that goes over so you can have a bigger battery in here. This is a Genzace 6S 5500 milliamp pack, and it actually, guys, still sits. There's still a little bit of length that could be used, so if you had a slightly longer pack, as well as even in the width, I've actually got a spacer on the other side here just to kind of snug the battery up a little bit. But another thing, and I'm going to bring you guys in closer to see this, I swapped out the TQI, and I'm going to make you guys aware of something. This receiver box is very, very small. Now, what's in there right now is a radio link receiver, the R4GM version, I think 1.2. They've got a couple of newer ones out now. But the funny thing, well, actually not a funny thing, guys, the sad part is when I was trying to get the receiver out, so it just kind of fits in there. There's not a lot of room. And when you're trying to actually pry this receiver out, it is the hardest thing I've ever had to do, to the point that I actually think I'd maybe even kind of crack the case open a second, because there's no room to really get anything in there and then to get under and then pry up. So you're kind of coming in like this. So I always use this guy. So when I'm kind of propping something out, I can kind of get in there, kind of wiggle my way under and kind of back and forth and then pry it open. But with this, I actually couldn't do that. What I ended up doing was using two flathead screwdrivers, kind of going down and then with equal force, prying it this way, coming over to this side, prying it back this way. That way I had equal force, because the other thing that happens is the receiver box actually starts to bend as well, and you don't want to break that either. So it probably took me 5 minutes to get this thing out without actually permanently breaking or anything like that. So just be aware that when you are doing that, be careful getting your receiver out, but also this was the receiver of choice. I've got this now in many, many of my RC trucks, and I mean, it's not like this is a huge receiver or anything, but it would have fit in there really weird. But the way the antennas come out the side and stuff like that, they would have all been kind of tightened up and binded up, and I didn't like that idea. Luckily enough, I still had this little guy it came, I think, with my RC8X, and it works perfectly. Now, that other receiver is waterproof. This one isn't, but the Traxxas receiver box is waterproof. So glad I still had that. And I don't know if this is the kind of form factor that Traxxas is going to be going now with that super small receiver box, but all I know is if you are considering replacing your receiver, you might want to take a look at it first. Pull the actual top off and see what you're working with before you pull it out, before you kind of start pulling your truck apart, because you do want to make sure that your receiver is going to fit in there. Now, I am going to warranty the VXL6S. I'll probably send them that little clip where I'm pulling the trigger and nothing's happening, but we're still got steering and all that good stuff. So I'm going to send that back, and that way I can at least get a brand new one, and I will sell the brand new one. I don't need to hold on to that. I'm not going to use that in any vehicle ever, so I'm not concerned about keeping it. What I'm going to do now, though, is I did find some hidden carnage when I was working on getting everything installed and setting everything up that I did not notice in the last few runs. I don't know if it was the first one or the second run. Personally, I think it was the second run, but I did find some hidden carnage. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to get everything back together. I'm going to clean all this up, get the receiver box back in, and then I'm going to slowly run the truck on the bench without the tires. And my guess is once you see it, you'll know exactly what happened. All right, guys, here we go. If you know what it is, as soon as you see it, go ahead, put it in the comments. Obviously, I'm going to show you guys in probably about a minute's time what it is, but here we go. So we've got everything now powered up. I'm obviously right now, guys, focusing on the spot, or at least keeping the spot that's the problem in frame. All right, if you think you know what it is, pause the video, drop a comment, and I'm gonna let you guys know right now what happened. All right, I'm gonna do my best to show you guys, but if you look in there, you can see we cracked the top of the rear bulkhead. And it was weird because when I was kind of just programming the ESC and all that stuff and getting the Max 8 set up, and I would give it a little bit of throttle, I noticed that this was really wonky. And I thought, oh, is that just the way it is? And then I looked at the other arms and it wasn't. And you can even just see when I start to kind of jiggle this one, you can see how it moves. And if you come over here, that's not the case. It doesn't move anywhere near as much as this one. So unfortunately, guys, I'm still going to run the truck. I'm not going to not run it over that. I have broke those kind of parts before on other Traxxas. And just with the way the bracing is and everything like that, it will run. But I obviously, guys, and because of the cold, I'm not, hardcore bashing this thing right now. Anyways, I'll wait till it warms up. So at least I'll still be able to get out, run the Max 8, kind of give it a good little test and all that kind of fun stuff. But at some point, we will have to replace the rear bulkhead. I don't think that it's a major issue. I think between the cold and the lack of the control with the VXL 6S, that couple of those landings where I came really just kind of dropped right on the rear end, maybe that's what did it. The bumper itself though, guys, this rear bumper is still good, so it may have been one of those wonky landings, who knows. But either way, we've got the Max 8 in it now, so I'm excited to get out, give this truck a run, and see how the Max 8 fixes a lot. I think it's going to change this truck drastically. So you know what? Let's just get outside and run this truck. All right, guys, so that was just a couple of quick clips from the run. That video will be up this weekend. But I don't want to turn this into a review or anything like that. But I am going to recommend that if you do buy a Max Slash, that just immediately upgrade the ESC. Pull the stock VXL 6S out, sell it to a buddy, whatever, sell it back to the hobby store, and just pick up something like whether it's a Max 8, Mamba Monster, X8S, that's a bit of a heavy duty ESC, Mamba X, I'm trying to think what that middle one is now. Actually, there's a new one for the 1/8 scale, kind of 150 amp range, I can't remember what it's called, but just grab something like that. Your air control, your braking, your accelerating, even guys, the speed, all that stuff will change for the better. It is a huge improvement. And when it comes, guys, to the receiver as well, I am going to take some of the blame. When I swapped over to the TQI with the Bluetooth module and all that kind of stuff, I didn't set up the TSM. I didn't even realize you had to, so I actually just thought the truck didn't have it. And like I mentioned, guys, earlier on in the video, I didn't even realize that that receiver was TSM until I pulled it out. However, the RC8X radio was awesome in this truck. Having the adjustable gyro, again, guys, I think I was running it at 30%, is such a sweet spot for this truck because it still allows the truck to get loosey-goosey. You can still rip it around, you can still send it flying, but if you kind of just sort of loosen up on the wheel a little bit and gun it and just let the TSM take over, or sorry, the gyro and that technology take over, the truck will go straight and it will fly. And you could see it, guys, ripping across the field in those couple of quick clips. It went and it stayed on the ground, which was awesome. Now, coming up, guys, so this weekend will be the full video of that run. I sound like a little giddy schoolgirl, apologize for that, but I was very happy running the truck with this new setup. However, in the next week or so, you're going to be seeing some changes in this area right here. Now, I've already mentioned, guys, all the trail parts coming, but there's some stuff coming, guys, for in here. And I'm just going to kind of put it out there, and I'm curious to see what everybody thinks. I think this truck would really benefit from big power, but not only that, I think it would handle it. I really believe that this is a great platform with the way it's kind of set up in the diffs and all that kind of stuff, that this would be a fun truck to have big power, to have big speed in. And maybe I'm hoping, guys, that the diffs and all that stuff take it. I hope that they're not parts that need to be upgraded to like machine ring and pinion or anything like that. But going up to something like a longer can motor, being able to up your pinion a little bit, lower your spur, or even going to a lower KV, something like a 1780, and then doing the same thing with the gearing, I think, guys, would be a blast. And I think this would be a perfect platform for that. There may have already been people that have done it, I'm not sure, but that will be coming up in the next little bit. But again, I'm just gonna, guys, leave you with one thing. The Max 8 and this motor is stupid fast, and the control is awesome. I don't really think you gain much in the way of top speed or anything like that over the VXL 6S. It's just all in the control and the acceleration and just the way the truck feels. And I can understand people who have never upgraded their ESCs. Like, I've got friends that have bought Traxxas trucks and they've bought a lot, but they've never touched the electronics. Servos, radio gear, ESCs are always stock. And, you know, they kind of laugh at me when I make these videos where I tell you have to change out the ESC, because they don't understand the difference. Because if you've never experienced it, you don't know the difference and the improvement that your truck will be in the control category, the way it'll just respond. So I hope that the video, and obviously, guys, the full video coming up this weekend, will really kind of display the difference in the truck, where you'll really see how the truck was running before, the way it was ripping around the field, and how it improved later. The fact that I could actually brake, bring down the front end so I wasn't landing on the wheelie bar and the rear bumper the whole time was a huge improvement as well. But guys, I've rambled on long enough. So as always, if you like this video, give me a big thumbs up. Please subscribe and stay tuned, because there's lots coming.